Welcome to episode 4 of trying to find this mystery skater with Tony Hawk. Now at this point, I'm leaning towards this guy being a surfer. Here's why. We need to look at what's odd, and then look at possible reasons as to what makes it not odd. For an example, what's odd about this photo? We've got this adult riding a skateboard in a suit. Odd. But why is that odd? Now in the early 1960s, skateboarding had a boom in the US. And at the time, skateboards were more classified as a toy than it was a piece of sporting equipment. Toy companies were the leading producers of skateboards at the time. In '62 is when we started to see a shift. That's when surf shops started to make their own in-house skateboards. Now seeing an adult riding a skateboard in 1965 was a very uncommon thing. Tony and his brother Steve put me in contact with a guy named Matt Warshaw. Now Matt was a former professional surfer as well as a writer and editor at Surfer magazine. And when I spoke to Matt, he did verify that this would be an uncommon thing to see. It was new and it was trending. So that's odd. But what's not odd is if you had a surfer riding a skateboard in 1965. Surfing came first. In fact, skateboarding was invented by surfers as a way to surf on concrete. Now this guy's ability to ride a board and balance could have already been there from being a surfer. Next, I contacted the Monroe Gallery in New Mexico. They still represent and sell Bill Epridge's work, and they were awesome, and they provided this info. Bill did not gather the skateboarder's name when he took the photograph for Life magazine. It was not uncommon at the time to just complete an assignment, turn the film into the editors at Life, and then go on to the next assignment. Next, I want to get into some theories that I've dialed in a little further, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Theory number 1. This skateboarder was brought in by the editor or writer of the article. I say this because based on the accounts of Peter and his sister Anne, this photo was prompted by this woman in the background who was the story writer. So it's possible that they brought this guy in for the shoot. He could have been a friend or a colleague. Theory number 2. This was a publicity stunt in some way. We have to ask ourselves, why weren't any of the photos of this skater featured in the Life magazine article? These photos went on to be the most famous from this entire set. So why weren't they used in the article? That's the biggest thing looming. These shots of a guy in a suit skateboarding well versus all these other shots of people in the streets on their stomachs, sitting down, they are different photos. So maybe that's why they weren't used? But the fact is, these were associated with Life magazine, but they weren't ever in Life magazine. Why? Theory number 3. Take a look at this man riding on this board. The board he's using has 2 stripes made from 2 different types of wood. The only other skater in these shots that has the same board is this guy. But we don't see them skateboarding at the same time. This board could have very likely belonged to this guy, and for the shoot, they just asked to use it so this guy can skate a few times. Theory number 4. 1965 was an explosive time for skateboarding. There was $25 million worth of sales in that year alone. To convert that amount to today's standards, just under $250 million worth of skateboard sales in 1965. The demand was high, and people were looking to capitalize on this. One man named Hobie Alter. In 1964, Hobie started making skateboards, and he even assembled a Hobie Super Surfer skateboard team. This team were ambassadors for the brand. They would do competitions and demos and be the faces of Hobie skateboards. This could have been a way to start a conversation about skateboarding by having this very eye-catching shot taken by a businessman riding a Hobie board. After all, Hobie did have skateboards that looked like this. This looks like the Hobie Super Surfer skateboard. It's got the exact same 2 stripes down the center and clay wheels. Also, Patty McGee, who's the skater on the cover of this issue of Life magazine, donated her own skateboard to the National Museum of American History. And it's also a Hobie Super Surfer skateboard. This could all be tied to Hobie skateboards in some way. It feels like we're getting close. You guys have been submitting a bunch of theories that are actually starting to check out. So here's some things that could help. This skater, his ears do slant a little bit backwards. He's got a slight hook in his nose, and of course we've got the gap teeth. Now lastly, I heard from Peter again, and he mentioned that this series and this search all happened at a very interesting time. The universe works in mysterious ways. Estelle just got put into hospice care at the age of 95, and her cognitive ability slips away day by day. This is a recent photo of Peter and Estelle. As Peter looks back on his mom's life, he told me, "My mom is an incredible social person. Her oxygen was the tempo and makeup of the greatest city in the world, New York City. She had the most amazing friends, she loved tennis, and played into her mid-80s. She raised 3 kids, but never remarried. Her true love was New York. I don't remember how I got the board. It was fun, but honestly, New York City wasn't the best place to board." Now, Peter went to visit Estelle on Friday, and when he got home, he sent me this email. "My son showed her the last episode. It took some doing, but she finally remembered and smiled. Thank you, sir. You rekindled some special memories. Thank you." I don't know what it's like to lose a parent, and I'm so thankful for that, especially if it's a process that takes some time. This whole search is bittersweet. It's bitter because I finally got the opportunity to work with one of my heroes, and there's nothing more that I want than to be able to figure out who this guy is. But where it's sweet is what just happened with Peter and his mom. Because of this series, we were able to give him another moment with her, one that daily is only getting harder for him to do. It's obviously a very emotional thing to get an email like that, and if that's all that comes of this moving forward, it's a win. This guy can still remain a mystery, and we're all gonna be okay. But this guy is cherishing every moment he has with his mom before she's gone. I know this series has been about this mystery skater, but this weekend it took a beautiful turn and it created a memory for these two. So, you know, we have this photo surrounded. We're talking at Central Park where this photo was taken. We've been talking to the former editor-in-chief of Life magazine. We're talking to people from the article that were there the same day, working with Tony Hawk and his brother Steve, getting involved in the surf community, now talking to editors of Surfer magazine. We're talking to the New York Parks Department. We're talking to the gallery that represents Bill Epridge's work, as well as his wife. We're dialing it in, and at this point, we can now start to develop theories. Now, at this point, I believe the next episode will come out when I hear back from Central Park. I do have some other leads that I'm working on currently, and I've started to find some similar faces. So with that being said, I don't know when the next episode's gonna come out, but it's gonna be within the next week. Thank you so much for everyone that's supporting this series and taking part in the search. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and follow for more fun videos like this, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you guys later.